we should be going.
We should be. We
Yes.
will be. Nick, are you ready to kidnap a child from her hometown, take her to a completely different country, and then sacrifice her to a god?
Zeke, gatekeepers are the true gods of this earth. On this episode of You Don't Love Giant Robots.
You outdid me. I was trying to take your spot. You outdid me. I'll get you. I'll get you next time.
This movie, this is officially a Quetzalcoatl fan cast.
Wait, hold on.
We are here
Wait a
for
minute.
the
What is that?
gatekeepers.
What is that? What is Quetzalcoatl?
The gatekeepers.
The I'm an idiot. Yeah.
This
Yeah. The literal gatekeepers.
we've been trying to protect the holy nerdland of Agartha from these interlopers. I've been doing this my whole life.
That's why I look so old.
This is children who chase lost voices.
And the adults who sacrifice them.
Yes. So, we're thick. We're in the thick. Maybe the thickest, some might say, part.
This might be like the direct middle of his movie career.
This is the middlest part of the Shinkai bun.
This movie came out about 12 years ago.
2011?
Yeah.
A good year.
What was I doing in 2011?
You were considering voting for Romney, I bet.
I was 11.
I bet. Yeah,
I was
suspicious
watching
one like you, I bet.
I was watching Harry Potter. That's what I was doing.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, big Potter guy.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have. I actually have social skills, so it's a little surprising.
So, this is Shinkai's 6th movie at this point?
I'm
Or no?
It is a 6th movie.
No, wait. We got Voices of a Distant Star.
Yes.
We've got we've got Place Promise in Our Early Days.
Yes.
We've had our 5 centimeters per second.
Yes.
And now we are here. And this is where Shinkai
4th movie
snaps off.
I'm not gonna lie. You said this at the beginning. You can go back and look at like the first episode. He was like, "Children Who Chase Lost Voices is the best movie," and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, no, he's right. The nigga was right. I was wrong. The nigga was right. It's his best movie. Like musically, the music in the movie I actually remember. That's the crazy part. I never remember any of the music in any of the Shinkai movies, and this one actually resonated with me.
This, you can hear the lines being railed off the table as every scene of this movie is going on. This is Shinkai unhinged. Shinkai unchained.
Wait.
He's done. He's done with that post-romantic bullshit.
Is he though?
He's sick of falling in love.
Is he sick of it though?
This is why I'm annoyed with his first few movies, is because it's like, oh, I want my girlfriend and me to get on the train.
Her. I miss her.
And it's like, that's child love. Oh, we're writing letters, we're texting. That's child love.
You don't hold on.
I am loading
I
my
write
gun.
letters.
I will put bullets in whoever gets in my way.
Time out. That is a joke.
Bring my wife
This man is
back.
not serious.
I will bring her back.
This man is joking.
At any cost.
Do not listen to him.
This is adult love.
What?
That is how adults say they love
So
each
are
other.
you saying? Are you
join a
saying?
terrorist
Are you saying?
organization.
Are you saying if your wife died, you would sacrifice a child to bring her back?
Would you sacrifice a Sumerian god and some children?
I'm asking you.
Me? Yeah, sure. I don't give a fuck about some kids, especially if they're not mine.
Yo,
Just some kids.
Like you don't even know them. What if you're teaching the kid? You know, it's like one of your students. You're a teacher. You care about the furtherment of society.
We need to back it up. And
we are getting a little too crazy.
This out. Yeah. Probably not because we're lazy, but as a spoiler-free kind of review.
Let's
give
cut that first part out.
We might have to cut that out, actually. So it's like a 5,000-foot high spoiler-free review of Children Who Chase Lost Voices. Zeke, what do you think?
A latchkey kid craves emotional intimacy, goes to a different world to find it.
It's.
I think that's pretty accurate.
This movie has the most ideas in it, I think, of any Shinkai movie.
Well, it's the most interesting.
I haven't seen Suzume. I'm saving that for when we get to the end of this. But at this point, even in his career, up to Weathering with You, I'd still say this movie has. It's crazy because it's not even like some. This movie has far and away the most ideas of any Shinkai film.
I've seen a good amount of Shinkai films, and I see. I don't even think I watched this one full through first time I watched it. And now it's like this is the one that's sticking with me the most. Like we've watched more like Shinkai movies back and forth the last few months, but I think this one's gonna stick with me the longest, just because it does something really well that I've only seen Hayao Miyazaki do, right? Where it builds a world, it does a lot of really good world building in like an hour, 50 minutes. It gets you invested in the world, and even though there are certain questions that you have about the overarching world going on, they're never answered, but you're okay with that. It just makes you get emotionally invested in something that you know is only going to happen once. Like, this movie's only going to happen one time. They're not going to revisit this movie. This movie's like, this is the movie, and that's it. But you're okay with that because it's a lot. Like, individual ideas alone in this movie, like Archangel. They could make a whole movie just about Archangel. That's how crazy it was.
There's a lot going on. There's so much. There's so many cool ideas in this movie that it helps me vent my frustrations with Shinkai and his obsession with teenage love. Because when you let this man off the chain, he is a crazy person, in the best way.
Well, I mean, he had that one movie with like child terrorists.
My favorite thing about this movie is that it snaps off immediately.
Oh, well.
This little girl, she's there. She's I think the term is scrying. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of crystal work. I've only done a little bit of crystal work.
Oh, you're a crystal mommy, Nick?
I've only had a few harmonic resonai.
Do you charge your crystals on the full moon?
I've made a circle of salt and communicated with Paimon.
Is your room gridded? That's the real question.
My room gridded?
You know what that means?
I have tetratic resonance.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. but I've opened up my trigrams or whatever.
Okay.
And I think there's more trigrams to follow. But I enjoy that this movie kicks off. It's like he heard people say 5 centimeters per second was boring. Because that's how I felt.
That's how I felt for a good... I think
I'm popping this movie
the last 30 minutes of the movie, I was like, okay, it's all right. But it wasn't like... I don't get it, aside from the visuals, why people love that movie so much. Like, I understand if you liked it. But this is, like, 5 centimeters per second is some people's favorite anime movie. And I'm like, there's no way. There's just no way. That is an odd take. That is crazy.
That's got to be, like, a very of the time and there's no way someone who said that... That's got to be, like, the movie they got married to or something. That's got to be some weird scenario.
That's what I'm convinced.
It can't be normal.
Because it wasn't... It's not that every other Shinkai movie was bad compared to this. Up to this point, but
this is where he's a Ghibli competitor.
This movie was so good, like, because I thought it was a Studio Ghibli movie the first time I saw it, and I'm like, oh wait, it's not. Like it was that good.
Yeah, no, and I hate Ghibli as a bar for movies because I honestly think this movie's more inventive than a lot of stuff that happens in Ghibli.
Tales of Earthsea.
Dude, that's an Ursula Le Guin book.
Look, man, it was a Studio Ghibli movie, was it not?
It was an
answer the question.
Wait.
Who made the movie? Who made the movie? I'm just saying.
And it was a bad adaptation.
What?
Have you not read those books?
No, I'm not 60.
Oh man,
I'm not 63 years old.
Sci-fi's.
I'll read it. I mean, if you suggest, I'll read it. I'm
not the biggest Ursula Le Guin fan. Parable of the Sower. I'm not like crazy.
What about When Marnie Was There? That was a good movie.
It's all whatever. But I thought that. This movie has Sumerian. Okay, now we're getting into spoiler stuff. Because I think, non-spoiler, this movie rocks, it rolls. This movie's got both its fucking devil horns up. This movie's questioning God and the utility of religion.
Well, even like the cinematics.
Questioning like the origin of man. It's like attacking.
Right.
It's maybe a flat Earth, hollow Earth movie, which is
it's
kind
definitely
of cool,
a hollow Earth movie for sure.
Which is kind of cool because it's like 2011. Shinkai was like way ahead of that trend. You a
flat Earther, Nick?
After this, I might be. And then it's got action. It's got not a small amount of action, like a lot of Shinkai movies.
Bro, the last 20 minutes. I don't know who did the choreography for a lot of those like action scenes, but it was amazing.
Oh, it's ripping.
It was pretty good.
It's definitely worth watching, but getting into spoilers.
All right, official spoiler. Official spoilers.
I love all of like the crazy Aztec and like I love that he's like mixing and matching cultures and he's very aware that he's doing that.
Well, even like some of the namings of the thing like Vita Agua.
Yeah, Life Water.
Yeah. Like that, I was like,
is that
he
coconut
said
water
that.
at the gas station?
I think so, but I'm pretty sure that was Latin. I'm like, oh wait, is that Latin? I think it's just
Go get some Vita Coco.
yeah, the Vita Coco, some Vita Agua.
Vita Agua, Vita Coco.
So for those of you who haven't seen the movie, Vita Agua is this liquid that you can immerse yourself in and still be able to breathe as long as you have a clavis, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think
Or can
you
you
can
do it
just.
without a
I think you
clavis?
can. I think it's just like liquid that you can breathe. It's
Okay.
very sci-fi shit. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think astronauts have that. They don't like to talk about it because they
Do
like
they
to,
actually?
they like to hoard it for themselves.
Oh, okay. It's like that car that runs on water.
Yeah, but no, but there's breathable liquids that I know that they've tested in like astronaut training type shit.
I did not know that.
And it's very cool, and I want that. That's like I want that.
You want your water? You want your house submerged in water?
Yeah, during like an earthquake, yeah, fill my house up with some like breathable water so my shit's not
Actually,
falling
yeah.
off the walls and stuff.
That's
yeah.
true. You'd be pretty sick.
Actually, yeah, Zeke, I do want my house filled
Alright.
with hyperbuoyant water.
If anybody
or
has any
whatever.
Vita Agua left over, just give it to this man.
Yeah, mail it to fucking.
Mail it to our Dropbox.
Trying to
can't mail it
remember
to
what
Dropbox.
is the. I can't remember the address for the Zoom mailbox.
Oh, there's a Zoom mailbox?
Yeah, come on and Zoom, come on and Zoom, come on. It was like
That's so over my head. I have no idea where that's from.
there was a bunch of weird zip codes as a kid that you remembered because of like sweepstakes, like Scruff, McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652, and it's like
I
that's the
remember-
number to call Scruff McGruff if you see crime. You call the crime dog.
See, I would remember stuff like FREE, that spells free. Was it? Creditreview.com, baby. Yeah.
And
What
the
is
other
that?
one was Zoom. I remember it was Boston, Mass. 02134, and I just don't remember what the begin. Well, no one wants to hear this.
No, we're literally going
No
off on a
one
tangent for no
wants to
reason.
hear
Okay,
this.
Vita Agua, Aztec mixing cultures.
Yeah,
big
we got
hodgepodge.
Sumerian gods. We've got Quetzalcoatl, which is like Aztec shit. We got
Yeah.
like Mayan and Incan references. We got
child
stonework.
sacrifices.
It's super cool shit. Like, he's going off. He's kind of just grabbing. I enjoy things like, okay, have you ever heard of, there's a terrible book by a terrible guy that
Wow.
basically blames everything on the Jews. And I'm not endorsing it.
Wait a minute. Are you?
I'm not
am I
endorsing-
thinking about the same book?
Is it The Last Secret by David Icke?
No. Who the heck is that? Why do you know this?
Because dude, it's just like a thing. People know this is when you used to be a real conspiratorial one. You used to.
I'm conspiratorial,
you
but
used
there's
to
someone
dip
behind
into
on.
like the weird realm of like you. If you get really deep down the conspiracy hole, you will inevitably read something and be like,
Am I
what's up with
anti-Semitic?
that? And then someone will be like, oh, that guy like hates like everyone who doesn't have blue eyes. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. I thought that while I was reading it, but it didn't. But the funny thing, I don't want to say it's a good book, but the funny thing that The Last Secret does is it kind of leans into the idea that it's like, oh, like the Loch Ness Monster and like Bigfoot and Chupacabra and the FBI using time travel to hide dinosaur bones so that people wouldn't be encouraged to build the time machines that are actually possible. And it's like, what if all these things were connected? Like, it's like all of it's
That
the same.
seems kind of realistic, though.
Wait,
that makes sense.
That seems realistic.
I
to
mean,
you?
I think the government, hiding things to make sure people don't make certain technological advancements seems pretty accurate.
You think the government can hide things longer than it takes for someone to get fired by their boss and like not go on Twitter and like be like,
They've done it before.
It's like,
They've done it before.
I don't believe in big conspiracies because I think humans are fundamentally incompetent. And so
Wouldn't that make it easier to pull something over people's eyes?
no, because then you'd have to keep on. If you have to keep more than 3 people quiet about anything, it's
Well,
not gonna happen.
let me give you this. You always see people on Twitter talking out of the side of their face about stuff they don't know about, and they start saying information that's not true. What makes you think that people wouldn't be susceptible to a mass washing of information?
Because it's very hard to do that. Even
MK Ultra.
that was taking a handful of guys and giving them a bunch of acid. Like, that was taking a few soldiers and just giving them a bunch of acid and telling them fake stuff. But it's hard to control a large group of people.
But they said that wasn't real for like 40-something years.
I'm not convinced that the government can hire better people than Pepsi at brainwashing. I think the best brainwashers on the planet work at Pepsi and in casinos. And I don't think the government has the trillions of dollars that you would need to peel the Candy Crush people away from making Candy Crush money to make government money. You and I make government money. We don't make Candy Crush money.
That's true.
I think that if the government had manipulators like that, it would be different.
I don't know. I don't think it's impossible. Like I there is value to your point where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, they probably don't have the money for it. They can make the money for it. That's the part you don't think about.
Yeah,
They can literally just make things happen. Like it just create laws that make no sense,
but
so they can skate around it.
The fact that there's not like the government doesn't have secret job listings for like $1 million a year, where it's like you're actually the best.
No, they do. They for sure do.
The government can't afford that.
That's what you think. But there's money that goes missing in their budget every year, Nick.
You can't do that and have anyone who's like involved.
You never hear about these people killing themselves by shooting themselves in the head 7 times.
Yeah, that stuff happens, but I'm saying there's always people like fucking each other's like spouses or stealing money. It's way too hard. You can't run like a burger joint and keep the information that's going down in there on lock.
I think it's different. I think it's different when it gets to government officials and like government entities that are like, if we start making this thing up, we'll be able to have more power or be able to launder more money through this means. Or the Iran-Contra. Perfect example. The Iran-Contra and the crack cocaine epidemic. Perfect example.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's a different thing than like putting a bunch of crack into a community is different from like we're being mind controlled. You don't have to smoke the crack.
Yeah, but if they start you off slow with something like cigarettes, and you're like, oh yeah.
But are you smoking cigarettes?
No, I'm not smoking cigarettes.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying that the smallest thing, especially when it comes to technology, it can affect your neuroplasticity more than you think.
Americans, listen. We said there's a life-saving cure on the end of this needle, and 40% of America was like, no, not even if it saves my mom and dad. Not even if it saves my wife, child, mom, and dad. No. And I'm not saying that the vaccine did that, but I'm saying that was the offer that was slid across the table. And 40% of the country is like, even at gunpoint, no. And it's like, it's hard to mind control people. It's just difficult because 40% of people are fuck you for no reason at all. People,
I guess you
at
make
least over here.
I guess you make a good point. Maybe nowadays it's like that, but I think back in the day, it was probably easier.
If they put out an announcement tomorrow, they're like, everyone wear blue pants tomorrow. Some people would be like, I'm not wearing blue pants tomorrow.
I guess you make a good point. I concede. That's fair.
But no, I do think there's attempts. Like Facebook, I mean, there was the Cambridge Analytica shit. There was
my goodness, yeah.
There's been attempts at being like,
how did we get on this tangent? I just realized we were talking about Sumerian gods, and now we're talking about interconnected government conspiracy theories.
Because the main guy, Morisaki, the villain of this thing.
I don't think he's a villain. I think he's just a human being.
He kind of comes into the picture by telling this girl Asuna, who's like a scryer, he's like, everything you know is kind of fake. We live in like a fake reality. The world's actually flat, and there's the ice wall.
Oh my gosh!
You've got to watch some of these like Russell Brand videos that I've got saved on my YouTube playlist, and she's like, okay, Mr. Morisaki. He's like reading Dianetics in class.
Well, but the thing is, the fact that he didn't finish the book. So the craziest part about the whole interaction was he didn't finish that book. She did. Told him the ending, and he was like, oh, dang.
Yeah, I mean, you got to finish the book.
Yeah, but he was like, quote, this book he never finished. She gets to the end of the book. She quotes the ending, which is poetic to a situation where it's talking about how, what was it?
Oh we'll get there.
All right.
So Asuna, she meets Mr. Morisaki, and then we get to this crazy bridge.
Well, hold on. Before she meets Morisaki, she meets Shin first.
That's the bridge battle.
Yeah, the bridge. But she doesn't meet Morisaki yet.
She meets Morisaki before that.
No.
As
after.
the substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm. It was after.
Oh, okay.
Because remember, she met Shin, and then he told her some things that made her think, right? And then Morisaki started saying more stuff about the Agartha and stuff like that, and she was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is making more sense."
Well, yeah. So there's this bridge battle that happens. That's how she. That
battle was crazy.
That battle was okay. I have a few issues with that battle. Shin does a cool guy thing.
He's like, "Ugh, get back."
The battle begins, and he looks at her, and he's like, "Get back. This will all be fine." And then he immediately like takes a hit.
He gets mollywopped. He gets slammed against the bridge. He's like, "Oh!" Blood coming out of his face.
That's not how you instill confidence. I mean,
he won.
This guy's got it.
I mean, he won.
He's got it figured. But yo,
at what cost?
he pretended this was gonna be like a half court hook shot. Don't even gotta look at it. Like
It's like that. It's like that one scene in One Piece where Shanks just lets his arm get yeeted off. You're like, this nigga's supposed to be strong, and he just got like clapped like that. Like, for real, like he still won, but like at what cost?
Yeah, you're like jerking off with your other hand now.
No, but I think
what
as the same thing, because he was like, no, I got this, and then like the nigga's done with the battle. He essentially died from this after that.
Yeah, I mean, he was dying though because
oh yeah, that's true.
He War of the Worlds. he breathed our dirty air, but she meets this shin boy who's like, I'm from the coolest thing you can say to a chick. It's like, I'm from another fucking.
You don't even know where I'm from. It isn't even Eric code yet.
You know, I'm like from like another fucking world. You know, and she's like,
he put his light skinned face on. He's like, hey, listen, baby, like you don't even know where I'm from. Like, you got things that you ain't even seen before. Like,
honestly, if a guy comes up to your girl and he's like, I'm literally from, I mean, we saw Hitchhiker's Guide. You will like lose your girl at the club to shit like that. Yeah. It's just not fair.
Yeah, you gotta deport him. Honestly, that's the only way. You gotta call ICE and be like, yeah, this nigga's not even from this planet. You gotta like get him out of here.
Put this man in a box,
right? Yeah, but
so he meets her. There's the bridge battle. The monster. It's a weird exchange. I'm not gonna lie, because he's like, we got to be respectful of this monster, and then it attacks him, and then he's like, no, and then his crystal like blows the monster's jaw off, and I'm like, weird energy in this fight.
Well, but you get more context with that when you meet Shun, and we'll get to that, but
yeah.
But yeah, and it's very odd where he's like trying to help the monster and he just yeets his face off. He's like, "Oh no, look what I did!" I'm like,
"What have I done? I'm dying too."
I'm like, "Nigga, throw the clavis. Like, if you don't want to hurt him."
Yeah, gatekeepers of the clavis or whatever. So he then dies.
Well, not just like that. They have
farts
a conversation
a lot and then dies.
Well, no, they have a conversation where she's talking to him and she's like, "Oh, you want to listen to the radio?" And she starts playing and he's like, "Oh. Looks familiar." And he starts talking more about Agartha. And she's like, was it you I heard in Agartha singing your song? Because did he have like a flute or something like that, right?
Oh, God. I don't want to say he does and think that I'm hallucinating
all
of the other times that a guy who looks like him has pulled a flute out of an anime.
Yeah, because I'm saying
God, I'm AI hallucinating right now.
Wait, Shin. Oh, my goodness.
But, yeah, she has this conversation with him. He speaks of Agartha. She's breadcrumbing her way to Agartha at this point. Like, she meets up with Murasaki, who's her substitute teacher. He's in class. He's got the book open. He's like, kids, you need to just find where your parents are keeping the credit card. They've got to have an emergency one. It's just prudent. No adult keeps all of their cards on them because they could get robbed or they could lose their wallet.
Okay, hold on. I zoned out for a second. How did we get to the credit card thing?
This is my Venmo. This is my Zelle.
Hold on.
You're going to want to use Zelle because you can't get the money back once you sent it. There's not really a paper trail.
What?
And this is what Murasaki's saying in class.
That's not what he's saying in class.
We're talking about Agartha, though.
And it kind of, she pieces it together from what he's saying, right?
Yeah, she's like, oh, Agartha. We're learning more because I mean he's spitting. He's like the Agarthans conquered this. He's saying stuff. You got to be like reading this, writing it down a mile a minute because it's very important.
Well, but the thing is,
the Agarthans lived amongst the gods. The gods were the masters of this world. Earth was nothing but gods.
Right.
And then the gods taught man.
So he did this on purpose, though.
Their ways.
He did this on purpose because when Archangel came and they were looking around. I don't remember if somebody saw her with him or if you kind of figured, oh, well, one of the kids from the class probably is interacting with the Agarthan who came to Topside.
Yeah, he seeded the trail.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to get these kids curious about this thing.
Yeah.
They don't know that they're next to the portal. These kids don't even know.
They don't even know.
He's got his back against the wall at the party. He's like, these kids don't even know that they're next to the Agarthan.
You got to make that a meme where he's like holding the cup. He's like, these kids don't even know the bridge to Agartha is like right below them.
Is this the bridge to Terabithia? No.
It's the cavern to Agartha.
Keep it cruising, sister. This ain't that bridge.
The Ketakal, what was it?
The Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl will keep you out. Yeah, gatekeepers.
Yeah, and so now Shin dies.
Yes. Yeah.
She goes a looky-looing for this man.
Because they were supposed to meet the next day.
Because she's trying to hear this song that's like in her head that she can't quite, it's like a sound that she can't quite remember. She's been scrying, and Shin reminds her of it. All of this talk of Agartha's got her reminded of it. We get the story of basically it's like the Japanese creation myth. If you ever get into the Japanese book.
Yeah, we had a class on this. About how the different gods were like just doing things, creating stuff, and then like I forget exactly what god it was, but he got bored one day and he made humans out of clay.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but I know what you're talking about.
Or like homunculi or whatever.
Yeah.
Some shit.
Or whatever.
But we've lost the way. We lost our connection to the old gods, which sucks because they never text back anymore. And so she gets down there. She learns that in order to get there, you have to like get to the bottom of it's like a river, a lake.
The Vita Agua River, yeah. I think it's like a lake. Yeah, because when she leaves, you can kind of see it the opposite direction.
She falls off the bridge where...
No.
Or no.
No. You're skipping. Okay, so you're skipping stuff. So, now, after that thing happened in class, she gets curious. She goes to her teacher's house by stalking him, mind you. She asks her other teacher, what's his address? Shows up to this nigga's crib. He has a gun out, loaded. He's like... Yeah, give me a second. Let me put this gun away. He puts the gun away. Then he's like, what's going on?
Oh,
She asks him more questions about it. And then he's like, oh, you're curious? Whatever. She's like, yeah. He's not really sure if she met the Garthan or not. She leaves. He calls Archangel. He's like, hey, yo, let's follow this chick. She might know where the kid is at.
And this is something, I used to have a Japanese roommate, and I'll always remember because he stressed this to me in a different movie where you see a guy pull out a gun. He's like, Nick, it is impossible for me to convey to you how unusual it is to see someone pull a gun out. He's like, most people in Japan would go their whole lives never seeing that. If someone pulled a gun out, if you went into a shopping mall in Japan and pulled a gun out and pointed it at someone, they would probably think they were on a game show and that was a fake gun that was about to shoot a flag that said bang. Because he said that has happened 1,000,000 times more than anyone in Japan has ever seen.
I'm not gonna lie, you do that. You do that in America, and it looks like a real gun. You can get arrested for that.
You're getting blown away. You're
like,
getting shot.
The firing squad is gonna be like, "Yo,
an astronaut right behind you is gonna say always was and shoot you in the back of the head."
Yeah, the Americans that the Japanese think we are will appear out of nowhere. The big blonde men, big muscles, be like,
kid.
Nothing personal, kid.
But yeah, my roommate, he was like saying, he's like, I'm not even joking to you. If you saw guys running around in a public place in Japan with like machine guns out, you would think they were filming a movie. You would think that they were playing a prank. But what you wouldn't think is that those are two guys with actual guns running around in public, because you never see that in Japan.
I forget how uncommon like.
Shinzo Abe, a guy had to make a shotgun to kill Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, I forget how uncommon it is for other countries to like have the right to bear arms. And it's such a foreign concept to me because it's like we're in America. You kind of just you turn 12, you got a gun.
So to see your substitute teacher packing heat
in
a country,
she didn't, but he put the gun away before she walked in.
But what I'm saying for the Japanese viewers,
yeah.
which we aren't, but let me switch to my Japanese right now.
Oh, how so?
No, but to see your substitute teacher have a gun that you're like, wow, hardened criminals in my neighborhood can't get access to something like that. Like, it's kind of a crazy. That's when you're like, oh shit, Murasaki.
But Murasaki, he got that clapper on him. He got that heat on him.
Up to shit.
He got the mess.
He's up to
something.
That.
Well, you see him revealed as an Archangel agent when he's on the bridge because he takes his mask off. And it's him. And then you see him again as a substitute teacher.
Yeah, and he's... So we're going to kind of skip forward a little bit here, but there's a journey. The girl, Asuna, she meets a boy who thinks... Oh, second verse, same as the first.
Ooh.
Shin, not Shun. I'm his twin brother.
She's like, Shin. He's like, what are you talking about, bruh? Yeah, he got pretty bad about that, and then they started going back and forth.
No, not my sister Ashley. I'm Jashly.
Yeah.
Duh.
But I think them going down.
Her hair is brown with blonde highlights, and mine is blonde with brown roots.
But I think the journey part was pretty interesting because when they got down to the cave to get to Agartha, you see him, Murasaki at least. He's like, hand me the clavis, kid. And he's like, bro, like, I'm just trying to do my job. Like, get out my face.
I want to touch upon when they're in the cave and she's with Shun. And they see well, first off, they're using that name interchangeably here because they see like a giant, like whale, like a whale with legs.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is like a 50 million year old whale. And that's when you realize Shin's like, oh shit, we're being followed. And that's when the Archangels start shooting at them and whatnot. And this is like some super evil henchman villain shit. Whenever someone is like, what is that thing? And it's like, it's a fucking 20 million year old whale god.
Shoot that nigga.
Bam. Like,
he wasted no. He was on site, bro.
Sense of wonder, no sense of awe.
They asked, and he was like, and they were like, are we supposed to collect all special? Like, nah, shoot that nigga right now.
Is there no beauty? No,
because he was so on site. I thought I laughed when that happened. I remember. I was like, dang.
It's straight up.
Murasaki's from Chicago. That's for sure.
It's like Avatar. It's like, what is this? It's like it's a field of flowers that all have consciousness.
Burn it down.
Burn it. Burn it all.
Burn it all.
Fuck it. I don't even.
I think a
don't
point,
even let the scientists name it.
I think a point in that interaction that's particularly interesting is he gave the clavis to Asuna so he wouldn't kill the Kitakatao.
Yeah, and they kill it anyway.
Yep.
The guy's like, he's got his foot on it. He's like stepping on it, shooting.
he's like, bow,
fuck
bow.
This fucking whale.
You know that scene from Office? Was it Office Space?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Have you seen Office Space?
I've only seen Office Max.
Dang. No, because there was a movie called Office Space. It's like these dudes
I know
were.
what Office Space is.
Oh, okay. You know the part where they're destroying the fax machine?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that. He's out there, he's like, dong, dong, dong. He's just.
Yeah, they're having the ending of Reservoir Dogs on this fucking whale thing that like was
it
just
literally
chilling.
didn't do anything. It didn't attack him. It was just like
it was. Hey, I'm a 20-year-old
Hey,
Sumerian
what's
god.
up, bro?
Bah, 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 bah. He's like blow it the fuck away, and it's just like, dude. If it was a deer, if it was like a dog, if it was a fucking dog, and he shot at it like this, I'd be like, you're a psychopath, man. You're a fucking psycho.
All right, so they're at the gate to Agartha.
Shin does a sick ass backflip.
He does. That nigga, Shun.
He's got superpowers.
I think they
the
both
Agarthans
do.
are just dope like that.
Yeah, because I think you see it whenever they jump off of things, or when the helicopter's shooting at them and he just jumps off the cliff. He's like, yeah, no, I got it like that.
And Murasaki, once they get inside, he kind of like spills the beans. He's like, listen, I don't give a shit about this. I don't give a shit about anything.
Well, before he spills the beans, he kills his two people that came down with him.
Yeah.
He shoots some niggas. He's like, all right, so we go, and he's like, we? Nigga, there ain't no we.
Top-notch evil henchmaning.
Top-notch evil henchmaning, yeah.
Bow, bow. I work alone. But he gets in there, and then he tries to hit Shin with the, hey, man, I'm not your
not
enemy.
that bad of a guy. I'm just a little silly dude. Just a little silly goose, man, you know?
And I'm like, I saw you ice your friends. You're not...
You're not nice at all.
You're not hanging with me. You're not coming to the taco party. Like, you can hang on your own. I'm not chilling with a guy who kills his homies.
Well, because you could be next.
And they get in there, and it's really kind of a long walk at this point. Not a bad one, mind you, because I think we should really touch upon the fact that of all the Makoto Shinkai movies, this one moves. This one is moving. This one's got rollerblades.
Yeah, like
on.
the plot starts when the movie starts, not like 20 minutes after the movie starts.
You get 5 minutes of a little girl being quizzical about a fucking music box, and you're like, oh, well, and then it's like, boom, I'm a fucking otter demon fighting with mushrooms on my back.
And I think the interesting part, the interesting part of this movie is it puts in so many plot points that make you ask questions, and even questions that don't get answered at the end of the movie, where it's like, she has a clavis, which is a clavis is like this crystal as you get into Agartha and control things in Agartha, right? And she has a clavis that she received from her father, who's dead.
Yeah, and an interesting thing too, as we're going through all the characters running through it, is like Murasaki's like, I'm here to get my wife. Asuna, at this point in the movie, it's funny. It's like almost a hat trick it pulls. It's like an hour in, the movie almost says like, Asuna, why the fuck are you here?
I'm lonely.
Like, you really just told us, like, this music box makes a sound that I've only heard one other time in my life, and I wonder where this sound came from. And then you're like, little girl, you are a long way from home for someone who was just trying to put some beats on your iPod.
But then she hears the same sound with the, I think later in the movie there's another Catel, the taller one.
Well, we'll get there.
All right.
But we are in the journey. This is the long walk. The
long
walk through Agartha is where we're at now.
And then they camp, they find some clothes, they find some food, right?
They meet the deer.
Yeah, so Mimi, we forgot to talk about Mimi. Mimi's this character that's been with Asuna for what I'm going to assume is a few years. And Mimi is actually an inhabitant of Agartha.
It's like a little fox chipmunk thing.
Yeah, it's like some type of spirit that guides people, apparently. And she pretty much talks to the deer, and the deer's like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" Like, "Oh, what's good?"
We got to talk about. They walk up. Well, so what we've learned is like that whale thingy that we saw earlier. Everything in the world of Agartha that's not a human is a former god. Is like which I don't know if you're familiar with like Hindu religion, the Brahma, and all that. The Vedas and the Upanishads.
This all sounds like alien language to me.
Well, it's like, I think, and I'm not a Hindu expert.
No, he is. If he gets this wrong, cook him.
Listen, I only studied at Hindu College Yale.
Hindu College Yale.
I studied at
Hindu College Yale Tech.
I got a master's in Hindu from Hindu Harvard. But no, it's like this idea that I don't want to say Earth is a god, but like all of us are fragments of God, but also individual gods, but we're all meant to be like the idea of Brahma Nirguna, the highest level of like the celestial order, is we all go back to being both ourselves, but like one god at once.
Well, there's a quote even in the movie that touches on this, actually. You know the old man Amarat, which we don't meet yet, but he says, life and death are just a part of the flow of something much bigger.
Yeah. I mean, there's that badass quote from Murasaki where he's like...
Oh, we're talking about Archangel?
Where he's like, Archangel's nothing but a bunch of empty-headed Gnostics, where he kind of reveals he's atheist. And I'm not going to lie... Murasaki being atheist in the presence of gods, that's some fucking conviction. I would drop. I listen. I love chemistry. I love science and shit. I would drop a lot of my fucking bullshit if a god looked me in the eyes and said, "Are you real right now, nigga?" I'd be like, "Okay,
well,
maybe I've gotten some shit wrong in my."
I think that there's a certain thing where it's like people think that science and divinity and stuff like that are disconnected, but really they're not, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, but Murasaki's literally like,
yeah, but most people who are, yeah,
and
he's like, nah, ain't nothing going on here. ain't nothing going on in there.
I'm literally the concept of like vines growing on trees, and he's like,
nigga, whatever you say.
I love my wife too much for this shit. I love my wife so fucking much.
But I think that also draws to a different point in the movie that it tried to, something that Makoto Shinkai I don't think really did well until this movie, was expressing how loss can affect someone, right?
Yeah,
because this nigga is like,
this is adult love.
I mean, yeah, because this nigga is literally going insane, rejecting every single moral imperative on the planet.
Worked a job he didn't like for 10 years.
Worked a job he didn't like for 10 years. Look, you ever worked a job you don't like? I couldn't even do it for 2 years. 10 years, bro? A decade?
I'm clocking out, nigga. I can't win against a guy's like, I've worked a job I hated for 10 years to get to my goal. Well, I'm like, I'm gonna lose to the better man here.
So there's actually a there's a story in the Bible about some dude who worked 7 years for Sarah, I think it was, his wife. And he said that the 7 years felt like mere minutes because of the love he had for his wife. So it's like,
you think that's,
I think it might have been something similar where it's like he loved his wife so much, he's like, no, I'm getting her back, and that he just didn't even think about it.
Yeah, feisty levels of devotion going on.
Yeah, man.
I can't even. I don't like Murasaki as a person. I think the fact that he doesn't care about anything. It's like, what is that? It's like, that's the world tree that reaches up into literally heaven, and he's like, don't care. Who gives a shit?
I think
Who gives a fuck?
Murasaki is a good example of like someone who has nothing to lose will do anything. This nigga has no wife. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a family because nigga's going crazy. He pretty much lost his mind because he's a former war veteran. Nigga's insane.
He is a war veteran.
People who have nothing to lose will do the most insane things and care about no one else's life, even their own. And you can see that a lot in a lot of this. Like, the nigga wears black Air Forces when he wakes up. I'm convinced.
Right. I just can't get over his absolute lack of interest in the absurdity of the world around him.
Well, I mean, even like the little girl who's like, what, 12 at this point? He's like, oh my goodness, look at all this cool stuff going on. It's insane. But back to the story. We're doing this long walk across, what is it, Agartha, right? And meeting some tribes. Not meeting some tribes. This is before meeting some tribes. They're camping. And Asuna gets kidnapped.
Grabbed by the ghoulies.
By the Izoku.
Oh, the Izoku.
I'm not gonna lie. That whole thing with the Izoku was scary. I was actually scared. I was like, dang, like these niggas are like.
I mean, they smack the squirrel, and you're like, they're not fucking around.
They could phase shift through the floor, grab you, and you're like, yeah, you're done.
Right? You're fighting a bunch of rapey.
What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
What's his name? Mirio.
Oh my gosh, bro.
You're fighting a bunch of Lemillions out there.
Oh my goodness, Lemillion.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
And they're all grabbing. They'll smack your fox. It's like, that's not cool. That ain't cool. But yeah, she gets kidnapped. You see our boy you see Shin have to go to court. Shun, whatever.
It's not the same. He's gonna get mad at you if you call him Shin again.
Shun was the one she met first, and Shin's the brother.
Shin's the one she met first.
Yeah, you better be right about this, or I'll be livid.
I won't be livid when I'm right about this.
But the boy, he has to go to court, and he's like, and honestly, this guy didn't deserve this. They're like, you fucked up real bad this time, you asshole.
He was literally trying to clean up his brother's mess, and then he got blamed for the other part of the mess. You know what?
You know
what?
Yeah. So
you know
Shin
what?
is like,
my fault.
When you told me to go get the fucking crystal, I got the crystal, and they're like, you dumb nigga, you got the wrong crystal.
No, he got the right crystal.
But they told him he got the wrong crystal in court. They called him a dumb poopy pants bastard.
They're like, you're a failure. And I didn't say they were a failure. Like, unlike your brother, you can't get things done or something like that.
No, they said your brother was also a failure.
Yeah.
They were like, Shun was weak. They were like, he was a better guy than you, and he died because he was weak and couldn't get away from the surface world. And now you're weaker than him. And it's like, I got the crystal. You told me to get the crystal. I got the crystal.
Dang. And then you see like his I don't know if it's his girl, but it's some girl who was like, hey, what's going on? You good? He's like, yeah, bro, get out my face. I gotta lock in. I gotta lock in before these niggas tweak out.
Yeah, and so you learn about the prior wars.
Oh, yeah, because they allude to that. They show some scenes where
he's like, actually, this gateway between Agartha and Topside opened up 2,000 years ago one time. Didn't work out for us very well.
No. I think it was it 2,000 years? Was it
It's
earlier?
opened a few times.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there was like people with the guns.
It's opened more than once.
Yeah,
but they said the first time it opened was 2,000 years ago. Yeah. Because prior to that, it was all like gods and stuff. Which 2,000 years ago, I'm not so maybe a stone was moving from in front of a cave.
That math does add up.
But yeah, no, they say like the gate to Agartha opened 2,000 years ago, and then that's when humans first came through, and then it turned into humans trying to like steal all the gold, and then they came back with guns. You see you see an old man bite it.
Yeah,
bad.
Like a guy yeeted up.
Got done fucking.
Essentially they took the nigga for his foams. That's what happened.
And so you find they're like, we don't take kindly to y'all down here in Agartha.
Yeah, I think that interdimensional racism is so funny. Niggas were like, because I think when they were trying to go into the town after the Izoku incident, and Shin was injured. They're like, yeah, we could take this nigga in, but y'all can get up out my town now.
And they're like, but we just, and he's like, get out. Yeah, I see. Get. I said get now. And then in classic anime turnabout, because once again the table is a Beyblade. the mayor comes out and he's like, "Oh, you don't throw at the people that rescued my daughter."
Yeah, because his daughter was also captured by the Izoku. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. This is Shinkai's strongest movie, man. I'm not like we're 2/3 of the way through it, and there's like not a dull scene.
No, I the thing about it is most anime movies you'll watch, you're like,
I like all of the characters, and what's cool is none of the characters are. You know how American movies do this fucking thing where it's like, we want you to want to be Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious. Like, you've got it. So it's like, to make a character that other people can put themselves on, you got to make a character so bland.
I don't want to be any of these niggas.
That they can, yeah, but that's how they think. It's like, why is all the characters and everything in American movies so bland? And it's like, well, they need to be bland enough that you can, like, project yourself on top of them. And I like that in this movie. It's like, dang, I kind of don't agree with the way Shin, Morisaki, or Asuna think, but they're all kind of.
I think the only person that I kind of resonated with the most was like old man Amarat, the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor's cool. He's very much like, you know,
Yoda type.
Times are changing. The times are, but. It's super weird because another thing that's demonstrated when they meet the tribes people is that the tribes people are like, we've all consigned ourselves to like they had a word for it. They're like, we're all consigned to like the great ending or something. Where they were all like, we know we're all
the end of the world is coming in Agartha.
They knew that they were all going to die, and they were all looking forward to it. And it's not like a big. It's not even like the Agarthan people are like all like, oh, the apocalypse is coming. No, they're all just like,
apocalypse is coming.
They're like, yeah, and also, dude, like, in addition to you not being able to come here because you guys are from topside and you're messing up. Also, we all plan on dying in like 20 years, and you're messing that up. It's like, oh, okay, and they're
very
like,
nihilistic group of people.
yeah, it's very interesting, but they're like religiously, they're all like, well, it's gonna happen. It's very like Ragnarok type shit. Like, oh well, it's coming. It'd be fucked up if it didn't happen.
I think
like is their mindset. They're like, well, if we all like spent the last 1,000 years thinking we're all gonna die on this day, and then it doesn't happen, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of religions.
I mean, that's Mayan calendar.
Yeah, and well. Like in Christianity, it's like they talk about the end times all the time, but not in the sense of like, oh, the end times are coming. Like, yeah, it's gonna happen. That's true.
I hope I get raptured hopefully behind the wheel of my car, so it's just like a t-shirt and pants behind as my car goes off the road.
Yeah. If you gotta hope, it's not happening. Come on. Sorry.
God made me this way. But so we find out that Shin is a gravekeeper. We find out that Shin is actually like one of the guardians. He's a gatekeeper.
Oh, yes, but for that giant.
The world of the dead.
Yeah.
Where they're like, all of this has been predicated, and we probably haven't done a great job of like summarizing this because we're assholes.
It's so much going on in the movie.
There's literally 100 ideas in this movie, and we've forgotten that the biggest one is that the Agarthan people, in theory, have access to like soul manipulation magic,
but they don't.
But they don't use it because they're so consigned to the idea that they're like, we're all gonna die, and of course.
Well, not only that, but they understand the consequences. Like nothing comes for nothing. You know, you can't get something from nothing. There's no zero consequence to anything that happens. I think they understand that.
Nothing from nothing gets you nothing.
Well, I think when the old man is talking about it too, when he's talking to Morisaki, and he's like, "How do I bring my wife back? You stupid old man." He's like, "Listen, bro. Like, as much as I want to agree with you, the repercussions of your actions could be dire. I wouldn't do it." And he's like, nah, screw that. Where's it at?
Yo, Morisaki's going full Oklahoma Smith and Wesson. He's like, I will shoot my way out of this problem. And they're like, dude, you are in a spiritual and quite frankly, quasi-dimensional dilemma. And he's like, who do I have to put a bullet in?
But Nick, he got that chopper on him, though.
I know.
He got that fire on him.
I don't think you seem to understand who's holding the strap. But it is like this religious leader's like, dude, your wife's soul has been just thrown into the river of eternity, and like that's just like
you can't just take that back.
We're all going to become droplets in the infinite flowing like free-form time that will eventually become mist as the star consumes it, and then even then light, and then darkness, and then nothing, not even nothing, dude. And he's like, well, fuck you, my Glock says otherwise. And
Oh my goodness.
it's like, I don't know what you want, dude.
Yeah, so then we fast forward to Shin is injured. They're at old man Emerod's house. And then they leave because the village people are like, hey, you got to leave tomorrow. Like, immediately. We're going to go crazy. He's like, yeah, sorry, I can only hold you guys for a day.
We just realized, like, your friend's trying to, like, not end the world, but, dude, your
End
wife...
the world.
You think our wives haven't died?
Right? Yeah, but so then you get to the point where they're going to that big crater where the Well of Eternity is. They can meet the god, and he can bring his wife back to life. And they get there, and Asuna is like, bro, I don't even want to do this. Like, I don't even know why I'm here with you right now. I was just lonely. And then he's like, if you don't want to go, you don't have to. Just give me the clavis. She gives him the clavis. Or no. Before this happens, actually. Mimi, yes. I forgot.
Mimi reveals, she's like, listen, I'm not actually just like a stupid little squirrel thingy. I'm actually like 1,000 years old. I went up topside because I knew that we needed you or someone like you to like get us to this point, and I actually got a dip now.
Yeah. And then the Quetzalcoatl, the really tall one, eats her up, consumes her back into the, was it Circle of Life?
Yeah. Lion Kings are all...
Yeah, exactly. And then he makes this, like, this similar tune that we've heard before.
Well, he walks into, like, the waters of the Agua Vita of death.
Vita Agua, yeah.
The Vita Agua of, like, the end of the line for Agartha, where death resides. Shin is there fighting with village people.
Oh, village people who were trying to kill Asuna and Morisaki.
To prevent the summoning of the god.
He is going crazy. He is putting paws on him. It is 3v1. He's cooking them.
Shin's like, I'm a fucking gravekeeper. It's about time I let y'all know what's really up.
I'll fill some more graves. Yeah.
But, yeah, so Morisaki communicates with the god. He's like, I brought what's the crystal called again?
Clavis.
The clavis. I brought the clavis, you stupid many-eyed god. Get down here. The god from above comes down, opens its 1,000 eyes, and stares on Morisaki. This is crazy shit, dude. Like,
well, Nick, while this is happening, remember, Asuna's like going back home, but she's getting chased by the Izoku. Then you get to the scene where the Izoku's like, choking her out. She starts firing the gun. This nigga missed every shot. She was shooting at her feet the whole time. I was watching the scene. I'm like, ain't no way. It's come on, man. So you see this chilling scene of this little girl getting choked out by this giant Squidward-looking being as trying to eat her. And what did it say? It said something.
Oh, what did it say?
It said something crazy, too. And I was like, bro, this is like, imagine you're like 11 years old. You're going through this. Like, there's no way she's not traumatized after this.
You do forget she's a little girl.
Yeah. You're just like, man, this is crazy. His mouth opens up all crazy. Like, you're like, man, this nigga's about to die. And then
It's almost a Big Trouble in Little China scenario where the main character's the secondary character.
Well, I don't think anyone's really the main character. I think the main character is Agartha.
Oh, put that in your thesis on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, because the thing is, the thing we end up learning the most information about, even though we learn bits and pieces about every single person, the place that we end up learning the most about is Agartha. We get the most periphery information, we have the actual origin story of Agartha, We have a lot of like the periphery information that we need to understand what's going on in the world.
I mean, the origin story of Agartha is effectively, hey, the Big Bang is wrong. That Big Bang thing?
Yeah, I mean,
bullshit.
Essentially.
Let me give you the real.
Yeah, but you get a lot more periphery information about Agartha than you do about any of the characters.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Morisaki, man, he's such a cool character because he's so fucking twisted. So he sees this many-eyed god looking at him, and he's like, "Whoa, it's gonna take a price to get my wife back. It's gonna take."
And coincidentally,
and then Asuna runs up and she's like, "Morisaki,
you gotta stop!
You gotta stop
conversing
with the ancient ones, Morisaki."
The nigga looks back, bro. The nigga looks back. He's like, "You shouldn't have been here." And it's essentially a Thanos, "I'm sorry, little one" situation where he's like, Yeah, take that nigga.
The many-eyed god's like, well, listen, man, here, I could go full Cthulhu on you and all that, but the problem is you don't have like an 11-year-old little girl's soul, and that's like part of the ritual, so like, what am I to do? My hands are tied. And then he turns around and he's like, well,
you don't say. And the craziest part about that is that still wasn't enough.
No.
and she, like, you get a body taken. Yeah.
Your wife gets 3 tweets.
Yeah. And he's like, wait, that's still not enough. And he's like, nah. They take his eye. They take the nigga's eye. He got one eye now.
Yeah.
To see his dead wife.
Losing an eye to a many-eyed god, that's quite a... The problem is you can't tell anyone that tale because everyone just puts you in a fucking
They're just going to be
room.
like, yeah, this nigga's schizophrenic. The walls are talking to him. He's not eating his Cheerios. It's over.
Bro, if I had my eye stolen by a god, I would simultaneously believe everything and also like not believe in shit anymore.
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah,
it
might be where he's left off after the movie's over. I mean,
he's such a shambling puddle of a man to be broken cosmically like that.
No, but then he gets his wife back, kinda.
He puts his wife in a little girl's body.
Yeah, and they're talking. She's like,
"Thank God, just to talk."
I recognize. Yo, nigga.
Let me cut that.
Nah, keep that in. Burn this man at the stake, bro. Why do you say that?
It's a weird move.
No, because I think, thank God.
He should have put in the little boy's body.
Okay. What did this nigga just say?
More honest.
What did this nigga just... Okay. Anyways, as, her body's getting yeeted, by the body snatcher, this man's wife, she's like, I recognize that boy. And then the kid's like, Shin is like, all right, well, I'm going to break this clavis to destroy this whole ritual so I can save Asuna, right? He's breaking the clavis. He's doing his thing. Murasaki pulls a knife out of his pocket, gets behind the nigga, and is like, hey, bro, you might want to stop that. You might want to stop that right quick. Tries to slit his throat. And I think he ends up fighting him off. Like, I think he kicks him in the face or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he breaks the clavis. And then essentially the ritual is over. Asuna is back. And then nigga Murasaki literally lost an eye, lost his wife, and lost his job. So he's just nigga's not doing nothing.
Can't dance.
No,
took that away.
Yeah, and that's essentially the end of the movie. You kind of leave off on like a...
Quetzalcoatl demands a heavy toll.
It does, yeah.
Took his Dougie away.
Actually, something we forgot to talk about. The Quetzalcoatl that helped him down. It started playing that sound from Mimi.
Yes, the one that ate Mimi.
Yeah, and it started playing that sound, and then she mentioned how she recognizes it.
And that was the sound that Asuna heard
on the radio.
Ago, which then gets into the revelation that Asuna is Agarthan, which
we don't know for sure.
This movie doesn't even have fucking time for.
Yeah,
like,
it kind of like
maybe her dad.
The thing about this movie that's so
maybe
crazy,
her dad's Agarthan.
It leaves so many crumbs of so many different parts of the story, but it does it in a way where it's like you kind of get a sense of what's going on, or you can put the pieces together yourself. But he just jams this thing with so much stuff. Like, I don't even think we've talked about half of the stuff. We probably talked about like maybe 25%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of mysticism and magic and talks.
I kind of want to do a part 2, but because there's so much. There's so much about this movie.
There is.
It's.
This is Shinkai Unleashed.
I think Shinkai was in his bag with this one, and I think this is the point in time where I'm kind of getting a little aggravated at the rest of his movies because I'm like, this nigga's doing the same thing over and over again, but he can really make stuff like this. We need another. You know what?
I mean, Suzume might blow our dicks right off of our faces.
Why were they on our faces?
But
he ignored the question. Y'all saw that too, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it is this movie. So we were talking about how I watched this movie with one of my friends a while back, and I'd almost say on its own, this movie comes across as very interesting. But when you place it against the backdrop of like this was a director who just kept hammering romance movies, and then his one non-romance movie is the most bizarre, probably like the best non-Ghibli, like, you could show this to a random person and it's pretty good. And it doesn't have any of the weird romance problems that throw off all of his other movies to me.
I think that's yeah. I think showing a non-anime fan this movie, they would like it. This is just like a good, I wouldn't say a good entry point, but a good way of piquing someone's interest about anime at least.
This anime movie, I'd almost say this movie would almost come with the disclaimer of being like, not all anime movies or even most anime movies are like,
most movies
aren't
in
like
general.
this.
Yeah.
But
Man.
okay, so this, of course, I think that we know that in the pantheon of Shinkai films,
It's number one. It's number one. It's not even close. It's number one. This spot is not changing the whole time we're doing this. I'm gonna keep it real.
Okay,
It's number one. I'm sorry. Unless Suzume is like crazy good for some reason, but it looks like more of the same. This is number one.
yeah, this is currently for me obviously top Shinkai. This to me is his first real Hollywood breakout success film. All of his other movies, I have to be like, you've got to like.
No,
anime to
I'll disagree with you on this on one principle. Well, you said it was his first.
No, I'm saying you've got to like anime to like all of his other movies.
Your
this,
name
to me, is the
Your name.
first movie that's
name.
after this.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
This is the first movie of his where I'm like, this is like just a good movie. This is just a good movie with good ideas, cool concepts, things that you don't see, things that aren't even in 2023 aren't played out.
Well, no, and this is the one thing I will give Shinkai movies. They are ahead of their time in multiple ways, and you don't realize it until you look back retroactively or retrospectively, right? Because like even like down to like the animation style. You know how long it took for anime movies for that type of animation to be the norm, Nick? That happened like recently, like 2018.
Yeah.
Like you saw an anime movie, it was like, okay, this is cool. And now every single anime movie you see, even now like the My Hero movies, is like the crazy shots of the sky, the animation that makes you go like, man, like somebody was working on this one cell for like 20 days at least. So yeah,
There's a lot of envelope pushing.
Yeah.
There's always envelope push. You got to push the envelope, push it right off.
You gotta.
Well, all right. Is there anything else?
This has truly been Our Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
From what's the full title of this? The Children Who Chase Lost Voices from
That's it.
the land from far below.
No, it's just Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
No,
There's other
its full
names
name
for
is
Its full name?
Its full name is something like The Children Who Chase Lost Voices from the Well from Down Below or something like that. But yeah, it's a banger. Watch it with your family. Put it on your burgers.
It's just Children Who Chase Lost Voices.
Pull up that.
I'm looking at it right now.
Pull up the wiki.
I'm looking at it right now. Where's the wiki at? Children Who Chase Lost Voices. Now it has other names, like Children Who Chase Stars, or Journey to Agartha, or Hoshi wo o Kodomo.
But I guess otherwise this show can be listened to without YouTube chicanery.
With ad block. No, I'm playing.
Where podcasts are found: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, blah 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 blah. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk shit in the comments. Is there anything? The next one. What's the next one?
You caught me off guard. I think it's Garden of Words.
Garden of Words.
It came out 2013.
That's the violin one, isn't it?
No, it's the shoe dude making shoes. Meets that like a minor meets an adult. It's a very inappropriate relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We're back on romance next week. God, he loves it.
He just fiends for it, man.
He can't get over it.
He can't get over her.
None of us can.
Yo.
I don't know that. But yeah, all right then. Well, this has been fun, I guess. I hope you had fun. I
did
had
have fun. If you let her drive robot, you'd have the keys to it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess that's it. Keep getting caught up and thinking that there's more, but there's not.
Well, there's more to talk about in this movie for sure.
Yeah.
I really want to do another episode, but I know it's just gonna drag. It's gonna be like a 2-hour episode. We can do more. It's a lot because we went off on like 3 tangents in the first 5 minutes. This has really been our giant robots.
We really did love them. Right?